Welcome to the Sushi Swap Onsen AMA, where we bring on projects that have partnered through the Onsen program and give them a platform to reach a larger audience. Today we are here with Owl and Swanson from 0xNodes. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having us, man.
Thanks for having us on, Tangle.
Yeah. I'll start off here with a few questions to get this rolling, and then we can open it up to the audience as we go here. So you can raise your hand at the bottom if you're in the audience. We can get you up on stage. So just as simple as pressing the hand button, get you up on stage, and then we can move you back after you've asked your question. We've also got the AMA text questions channel open. So please bring in any questions there, and we'll answer them as we go. So yeah, thank you very much. Okay. If you guys don't mind here, Owl and Swanson, maybe just give us a little intro to yourselves, a bit of background, and your current involvement with 0xNodes.
Yeah, cool. Again, thanks for having us on. I guess I'm an old school Linux junkie. Been involved with crypto for a long time now, and was doing a lot of trading, and then got involved in DeFi last year. Found it fascinating, turning a lot of these assets that we were just trading into productive assets, and started building and started learning how to build, and did a smaller project last year, and kind of took a lot of the lessons learned from that and turned that into 0xNodes with a great team and great network that we built out through over the past year, and excited to kick this project off.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll shoot then. So, my name is Swanson. Won't give my real name just yet, but I think everyone knows it anyway. My background is in product design, engineering, industrial design as well. I've worked at multiple kind of small startups over the last maybe 10, 12 years. And I've been involved in crypto since maybe 2016. I've been actively trading and building a network since. Originally got involved with the old project with L about 12 months ago. And 0xNodes is the new project which we're now involved with. And yeah, looking forward to the future of this to see what happens.
Awesome, you guys. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, do you want to just discuss how 0xNodes came to life? Any inspirations for that, and even the name?
Yeah, 0xNodes. So it kind of came to life back in January, while looking at the horizon of DeFi and getting involved in a number of communities that everybody was building on ETH mainnet back in 2020 and like Q2, Q3 2020, and then around Q4 you started seeing the side chains really pull some of these projects over, and you saw a real dispersion of TVL over to Polygon and BSC. And so being active in those communities, it started becoming really evident what some of the problems were. And the problems that retail and the community were struggling with as far as getting assets over off chain, back onto chain, and then interacting with the chains themselves. And so 0xNodes, it started as the gamification of yield aggregation and introducing gamified aspects to doing something that's ultimately really boring, which is the synthetically depositing assets and earning interest on it. Like, as you deposit assets, what do you do while you're sitting there and you're earning, interest or dividends? And the reality of the situation is usually you just deposit and walk away, come back in a week, and you've enjoyed 1,500% APR if you're lucky, or 150,000% APR. And And like while we were developing that idea and getting active in the sidechain communities, we realized that there was kind of an overlap between the two, and that there's a lot of development in the space that needs to get done. So that's kind of where this idea came from, and the name. It really symbolizes decentralized nodes, and in each liquidity stack that we're going to be deploying to a chain, like acts as kind of like a node, or like a symbol of a distributed network running on inside another decentralized network. So not much really thought put into it, I suppose. Looking back on in retrospect, it just sort of made sense.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So do you want to just give us a kind of an overview of 0xNodes, how it's going to function, kind of the goals behind it, and give us all that?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the goals behind it is really to make this whole ecosystem flow easier, faster, and like a better experience all around for everyone involved in it. And at the base of it, we are creating a platform that brings in the community, and allows for the community to be active in development with us. Like we are creating, it's basically a protocol that lives on a chain, but has an open API for anybody to plug a module in to interact with their favorite protocol. So we're sort of an open-ended API for people to build integrations with. And so each base node or deployment or liquidity stack that we deploy to a chain, it's going to have a set like default list of protocol integrations. Like, and that's the yield aggregation part of the 0xNodes liquidity stack. But it's an open-ended API with an interface module that will allow any services to be built that the development community at large can come up with.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So maybe to help people with this is like, who are some of the projects that you might be comparable to, and maybe some of the differences and similarities that you guys offer?
Yeah, this is my least favorite subject to talk to. Everybody asks us, who do we compare to? Who do we, if you look at any platform out there that, I mean, the interconnects piece of this and the module that is going to be relaying liquidity between chains, we're not a parachain yet, but Ren, Thorchain, they're all doing something where you can take an asset and move an asset between two different locations, not on the same chain.
Right.
But we really dug into bridges, and that's why I'm really hesitant to say the word bridge, is because I don't feel like these are bridges. These are liquidity routes getting deployed between EVMs.
Okay. So with the liquidity routes, because you're not just putting the asset necessarily onto one of these chains, then you're kind of just providing the route for it to happen.
Yeah, right. And I mean, a fundamental difference, like I really like, not to give a plug to somebody who's probably working against this, but Nerve and Synapse is a really interesting project that I've been paying a lot of attention to.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I have a lot of respect for what they're doing, but I'm really against doing swaps cross-chain. And I'm really more focused on building routes to the engine that can operate the best swap for the end user. So take the onus of the logic outside of the connection and put the onus on the place that can perform the swap itself.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a little more sense. That's cool. Yeah, we just had Wimwam say, I really like that swap distinction. So thank you for that. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Okay. Yeah, so like with your bridges, or let's maybe call it like the routes, maybe, or your routes versus bridges. Do you want to kind of just like break that down for us a bit, kind of explain how that's going to work or what that could look like for users?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're a yield aggregation system. So you take an asset that is been plugged into the system, and you deposit that, and then you point that from whatever chain or network that you are attached to, and you can deploy that to any other chain that accepts that asset, and then you will use the interconnect between chains in the 0xNodes network.
Okay.
Let me know if you want to unpack that.
Well, sure. Let's unpack. Or Swanson, have you got, or if there's anything you want to add to that?
No, I'll let Owl deal with this. As the main architect for this, his level of knowledge just gets deeper in every single conversation that's had.
Yeah, sure. Well, let's unpack it. Let's try and make it digestible for everyone in the audience.
Yeah, I mean, if you just accept, that crypto is potentially tribalistic, or there are maximalists, right? And there are people that are comfortable on a certain chain, right? Like, there are Ethereum maximalists, there's BSC maximalists, there's Matic maximalists, right?
Right.
And people do want to be exposed to yield on opposing chains without the burden of moving the assets and pulling the assets out and then redeploying the assets to a different chain. And
Right.
so our basic premise is, let's create a terminal that gives the end user access to that yield without and remove the burden of actually redeploying your assets and acting as an intermediary.
Okay. So, for example, I'm looking around, I'm on VFAT tools, I'm doing my scrolling through, all of a sudden, whoa, I just found, my this project that I absolutely love, and it's kicking out 257,000% APY. I need this. Perfect, but all my assets are on Polygon, and this is happening over on, I don't know, let's say, on BSC, right? Or Phantom. And I really need to get there. I need that, but I don't really have the bridge, get bridging from, or getting my asset from Polygon over to Phantom, let's say. That is a bit of a struggle, or, is going to cause, however, I got to find the bridge for that, or find the best way to make that happen, or maybe bring it back to mainnet and go that way, right? So this is where you guys are saying, let's just try and interconnect all of this so that you can get that yield that you're, get that 257,000% APR, but not have to necessarily have a very or have like the most frictionless way for you to use your asset that's currently on Polygon to be able to capture that yield on Phantom. Is that a good description?
Right. The 257,000% APR is realistically going to last like 72 to 96 hours.
Sure.
And so it's a ticking clock to get your assets out and redeployed and then intertwined into the system cranking out that juicy APR.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally, if a project knew that they were going to launch with something like 257,000% APR, like as part of the deployment of that project, they could just introduce a service module into the 0xNodes system on that chain, and then have that propagated out to the network, and let anybody from any network deploy their assets through our liquidity routes to that new deployment or that project, if they wanted to.
Right. So if I've got my assets on Polygon, I need to get that 257 over on Phantom. What's it going to look like for me when I come? How am I interacting with 0xNodes in order to get that? Like, what's kind of my process for capturing that yield
from Polygon?
Sure.
To BSC?
However, like, how am I interacting with 0xNodes to like get that APR? What's going to happen? How's it going to work?
So you pull up the terminal from your network, and that's Polygon in this instance.
Sure.
and then the new yield will show up, and then you can deploy any asset that then gets translated into the base asset or native settlement layer asset that needs to get moved over to the remote chain. It hops across the interconnect. The remote kernel then translates that into the assets that need to be deployed to the 250,000% APR, and then just gets gobbled up by that service module and deployed as part of a seamless operation.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So it just all, and like with gas costs, and I guess with, gas costs on these sorts of things, it's relatively cheap with these networks. But let's say you were coming from mainnet or headed over to mainnet to get that. What about gas costs? Where does that come into play?
The only gas cost that is on the end user is the deposit into the local kernel.
Okay.
Everything else is on the onus of the network.
Okay. So then what's the, what are your fees or deposit points, or how does that?
So the fees I feel like are pretty reasonable. Of course, being intimately involved with this project, I didn't build out any massive fees, but we've made a specific point to not tax deposits. So we don't take a dev fee on deposit. We take a dev fee on the yield. And so this way, the principal is untouched. So as a user comes in, deposits a principal, the user is always able to grab that principal out at max, and then the yield is what the dev fee is tied into. And there's yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's cool. So then that way you're not taking on any, if you just decided to change your mind, or if that yield you got into late for this yield, that 257 just decided to evaporate. I mean, sad times. But rather than paying rather than getting dinged on it, it's like you guys are taking the fee on my on that yield. So if I captured a day's worth of, if I got my 24 hours worth of degen yield, that's you guys get the cut of that versus taking a chunk of my capital.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So as we're talking about all these chains and bridges and routes and everything, what networks are you guys currently or looking to support, or have in plans to support? And yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously we're doing the EVM toolbox, right? Which is Polygon. We've got John Lillick on our board. Awesome guy. So we're hitting Polygon, BSC, FTM, Heco, KCS, and OKX chain. I mean, that's like the immediate what we can do fast, right?
Right.
And the way that the platform works is broken up into, it's a 3-tiered model with a kernel, an interface, and then a services layer. And that can pretty much, that's just a footprint to get deployed to any EVM chain. We're quickly and simultaneously, while developing the EVM interconnect template that can then get deployed with an EVM kernel, we're beginning development on off-chain interconnects, and that would be like Solana. I know there's a lot of Solana maximalists out there, and love the community. Yeah, we're looking at XLM. Huge fan of XLM, which might be a polarizing statement, but their on-chain data is absolutely amazing. Outside of the token and or the coin, but yeah, we're really excited about going off-chain and outside of the EVM network and expanding DeFi into the broader blockchain community. There's some really, really interesting stuff happening outside of just the Ethereum network and the Ethereum side chains. I'm excited to get out there.
So, and when we're talking about that, like, where's kind of next? Is this a Polkadot thing, or is it our ever beloved Cardano, or what kind of, where are we going?
This is probably, if Cardano ever launches smart contract.
Wait, I thought they just did. I thought they just did launch.
Oh, did they? I just woke up. I haven't checked the news, but
I don't think they did. I think It's just an image of a code base floating around online, and then that's really it. It doesn't
Okay.
make any
I'm
sense.
I'm not up to speed here, but the price is reflecting smart contracts and you know, the future.
Hey,
So
happy to integrate with anybody that has smart contracts. Definitely excited to integrate with everybody. This is everybody wins, and how do we expand the ecosystem?
mhm,
Way more than this is a project that brings people together, not segments the community even further, fragments the community even further.
that sounds great. That sounds amazing. And what about like things outside of like even just connecting straight to Bitcoin or any of those that kind of ideas as well.
And so that's interesting. I would be happy to what that realistically looks like is integrating with a protocol that integrates with Bitcoin, because you have such strong leaders like
Mhm.
Ren, the Ren VM and Ren BTC.
Right.
We could easily integrate with Ren
Sure.
in our protocol on ETH, but would it make more sense to build a bridge and deploy a kernel to Solana, or would it make more sense to, reinvent the wheel with something that an established player has already done in the space?
Gotcha. Yeah. So you'd be more enticing to go to, yeah, like you say with Ren or
Right.
that type of thing. Or what about like, does it make sense to connect to Lightning or Liquid or RSK or something like that? Would that be
Right.
is that kind of route as well?
Yeah, I mean, Lightning's interesting. Like again, I mean, these are really polarizing
Mm-hmm.
comments. So I just want to apologize to any of the maximalists in the community at large right now. But again, if Lightning, you know, um, let me rewind a second and just say that it is interesting to 0xNodes to deploy two networks that do not have TVL explosions in the just like AVAX this last week.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in talks with AVAX for over the past couple months, and getting a node or getting a kernel deployed to AVAX was on my radar. It was on my roadmap, and we just didn't make it in time before this TVL explosion. And
Right.
same with Solana before, and getting a kernel out there before the TVL explosion so that we can get that presence before something, event happens, is important. And so to answer your question, yes, all these networks are interesting. It's just a matter of development resources and how fast and what priority they are on our roadmap.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just run over to the AMA text questions here. We've got one coming in saying, how is the 0xNodes liquidity layer architecture design similar to and different from the layer design chain call or Chainlink proposed? Super high level response is okay.
How is 0xNodes liquidity layer architecture design similar to and different from the layer design Chainlink? So super high level response is okay. Oh, that's interesting. Haven't taken a look at the cross-chain interoperability protocol, but I have been talking to Chainlink a lot. Be happy to take a look at this. Would have to dig into it further. I've actually been talking to Chainlink about their proof of reserves protocol, and it's pretty interesting. And it's been interesting to be involved with 0xNodes and seeing the interest from the larger development community that's taken interest in what we're doing. We started out with a kind of a single development team, and over the past 3 months, we've grown that to 5 development teams, and we've replaced 1 development team, and it's been kind of insane to get so much development interest and teams that I never thought we'd be able to work with, and the people that I never thought we'd be able to work with. and have them come out and say, hey, we actually do want to work with you, and we love what you're doing. We've seen what you're doing, and we want to help.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Yeah, hopefully that kind of answers for now, and we can do a little follow up too, perhaps. Yeah, hopefully they can just reach out to you afterwards, either connect on one of your socials or wherever to follow up on that. Yeah, again, if anybody has questions, please ask them in the AMA text questions or raise your hand. I always like it when we have people up on stage interacting with us. So always love community participation and engagement. So please don't be shy. Get up here. Come ask some questions. Work on.
I see this Zeus X question. I think we answered this earlier. Of can you give a use case example of 0xNodes? Did we touch on that already?
We kind of did. I mean, you can expand further if you feel like there's some parts that you missed or some other other insight for that. Go ahead.
Cool. No, I actually I think we handled I think we answered that earlier. Just this is designed to make the end user's experience a lot more seamless in the looking for yield and redeploying and deploying your assets across different EVMs and different chains.
Great.
Yeah. Happy to answer any questions. Happy to talk about anything else if anybody's interested.
Do we need to incentivize them?
Yeah, I see a couple of questions that are starting to get typed here, so that's cool. And yeah, maybe while we're waiting here, do you guys want to just discuss like the BIOS token and its role?
Oh yeah. BIOS. So BIOS is going to be interesting. It sits in a part of the protocol called the protocol fee accrual, and that's basically incentivized distribution of the yield that comes in. We created a service module called the yield distributor, and so all yield that comes through our system hits a yield distributor and then gets broken up into paying out different parts of the ecosystem. So I think we have it set to 6.5% right now of yield that comes through the system gets sent to the PFA, and the PFA is where you deposit your BIOS, and you earn ETH just sitting there with deposited BIOS.
Okay.
And of course, like that is so. To kind of zoom out, if you look at the 0xNodes protocol as a network of multiple deployments of a single protocol, if you imagine like bidirectional yield aggregation happening across chain interconnects in an EVM mesh network, and you assume that every kernel deployment is going to accrue only settlement layer assets, you can kind of see that when you talk about ETH, Matic, or Polygon, FTM, KuCoin, Hecko, you can see that there is through the PFA, you can see like a portfolio getting built out of the settlement layer assets, because everything from every chain gets funneled back to the PFA on mainnet. So that PFA, when we deploy the Matic kernel, is going to be accruing ETH and Matic at the same rate, depending on the yield coming in. So, and then as you add another kernel, then you get additional assets being built into the PFA that just sits there and accrues assets while you don't have to worry about your principal.
Okay, gets a little technical there, but yeah.
Sorry, that was the 4 espressos all hitting me at once.
No, that's all good. That's all good. But yeah, another question here coming in. I remember you made some significant hires, namely a CTO and a CMO. Could you let us know what they've been focused on over the past month and what that's going to manifest in the launch?
I mean, that's interesting. So CMO is amazing. It's a lady named Corey Dark. And then we also hired our product officer, who's named Elliot Stock. And then we have a COO, Gareth Hordick. And as you can probably tell, these guys have a significant amount of leadership experience. And I have been ramping them up very swiftly into how do we operate inside the crypto, and more importantly, like the DeFi ecosystem. And then once we master the DeFi ecosystem, then we can expand to the larger cryptocurrency space and different blockchains. And it's been a lot of education for the past 3 months, two and a half months. But our chief product officer, Elliot, has been interfacing with developers, and we have distributed development teams and all kind of working on different compartmentalized components of the larger ecosystem. And he's been doing an amazing job. This is a super, super technical field, and he jumped in headfirst in designing just world-class products. Gareth is piecing together corporate infrastructure, legal, accounting. I mean, this is an operations-intensive conglomeration, I guess you could call it.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we are I don't want to spill the beans too soon, but he is putting together some awesome packages right now to get us some things that we need for the future. And he's been doing an amazing job. Corey has been working on marketing. This is not the easiest project to market because of the language in the brand that we've formulated and crafted over the past 6 months.
Right.
And coming from a non-technical background, she is doing an amazing job in the background. We are working 20-hour days, 6 days a week, and for a bunch of boomers like us, that it really takes a toll.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you might not see it, but these guys are hard at work. Just hired on a head of engineering to help with Elliot and the interfacing with the developers from a more technical side. And so hopefully, I mean, if that means we can double our development capacity over the next, 3 months, just like we've done over the past 3 months, then we're going to be in an amazing, amazing place.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Thank you for expanding on that. And another one in from the audience or AMA text questions from Marsudier. We have not so much a question, but an encouragement to get into talks with Elrond, team for node deployments, seeing as the AVAX TVL boom was missed. Elrond and will likely be the next L1. I mean, any talks with them or any alpha leaks for that?
I'll put it on the roadmap.
Cool. All right. Second question coming in here. Why was it important to deploy TVL increase versus after? For a lot of protocols, it feels like many prioritize deploying to activity after the user in a chain demonstrates that they are active via volume and other metrics. What's driving prioritization for you guys?
So that's a super interesting question, and whoever said that, I appreciate you asking that question. It sort of goes into our mentality. our development mentality is that if you take away the assumptions that just because something is on market and it's successful right now doesn't mean that it's the right way to do it. And although, we do accept that there are certain ways that things get done in the DeFi space, coming from, I hate to say this, but just coming from a technology background, being able to take yourself out of the situation and say, hey, like maybe there's a better way to do it, is definitely one of our mindsets. So I understand that people in this space, and even myself included, like to go after the shiny object that is bright and shining, but that doesn't mean that there is an opportunity in an object that isn't shiny yet. And if you spend the time and you polish an object and then you make it shiny, there's something more rewarding in that than just going after the brightest star on market. Having a deployment of the kernel to a chain that doesn't have the TVL and hasn't had a TVL explosion yet puts us in a unique opportunity to capture a lot of yield. And if you look at what happened with AVAX or even Solana, you can see that the yields were amazing in the rise, of Yak or of Benki or Joe. And if you get in there prior to the volume and the TVL coming in, capturing that base yield is an amazing opportunity. And then you see the TVL get piled on top of it, and then that's when the APRs start going down. And yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does for me, and hopefully that answers for that question as well. So okay. If anybody else has questions from the audience, please raise your hand as well. I want to have somebody up here. I really like it when people come up and ask questions. So if you can, great. Otherwise, we're going to continue going through the text questions here. We got another one here that's just to kind of summarize it. Says sounds like some people are struggling to find well-qualified Solidity developers. How did you guys find that? Are you struggling with that, or are you guys set up with devs?
So just I don't know. I guess to give like a broader view of the market, I would say this market is well above 100% utilization of Solidity devs on market.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I was saying earlier, we started off with one development team, and just through hard work, determination, and grit, and networking, we've expanded that to 5 teams, globally distributed, that are all working in tandem. It's a struggle, and over the next few months, we are going to be working on education and really prioritizing getting more Solidity devs, getting more Web3 devs, not just for us, but just for the market.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking at expanding to Rust because we do recognize that Rust is a fundamental part of this broader blockchain ecosystem. And there's a bunch of other technologies as well. Is how do we bring people not only in just to the retail or consumer side of cryptocurrency and DeFi, but also educate and bring in the people to support this industry in a growing industry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good that there's a focus on these types of devs, and this is going to be there's going to be the new Wild West, the new gold rush, the new all this kind of stuff. So definitely a big demand for it. So no, that's good that we're looking to help grow that part of it. So we've got, let's see, we've got a link there to discuss how the project was funded. So that's kind of taken care of. We got some more Pope content, POAP content there. If anybody else has further questions here, please hop on the call here, give us a hand raise, get up on stage, or if anybody's has further questions in the AMA text questions, please drop those in there. So, yeah, I don't know. Just maybe one other thing while we're going here with in regards to stable coins. It's obviously been a popular topic throughout the past few months, or even for a while now. Do you guys have any kind of approach to stable coins, or any kind of things going on with that?
Are we doing anything with stable coins? Was that the
Yeah, just I don't know if anything in regards to that, or any kind of approach with stable coins or anything, or
Yeah. So like I was saying, like the core kernel technology that we're deploying is kind of an open-ended development platform for anybody to develop a service module to plug in. We spent a lot of time looking at stablecoin farms, and I just find stablecoin farms fascinating in a world where it's normalized to get 0.25% APR from deposits at a bank. And so I've got a lot of like long tail thesis on the movement of fiat into synthetic USD and crypto as a whole. But yeah, I just found it fascinating. So we did develop a couple in-house service modules that deal with stablecoins, and we are excited to show the world our stablecoin farm on ETH, and I think that should hopefully open up a broader cross-chain stablecoin market. And like I said earlier, I'm just fascinated by what Nerve and now Synapse is doing. And the great thing about DeFi is that all of this is open source, and like I said, I'm an old school Linux junkie, and and so open source is just it's fascinating to me, and really feeds into my political beliefs. But yeah, so stablecoins are fascinating. Can't wait to do a ton with them, and looking forward to integrating with any stablecoin protocols that bring their A game.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah, I don't know. If anybody else has questions, please aim and text questions or raise a hand. Let's get you up here. Probably going to wrap up here right away. So, you've got any last burning desires here to get your questions asked? Please do so now. Let's see, there's a
hopefully the lack of questions means that
that you've been
I
thorough.
have answered every question so thoroughly that everybody has a solid understanding of what we are doing.
Yeah. Coleone, you got a question for us?
Yes, sir. I do. Can you hear me clearly? I'm sorry. It's kind of loud.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay. So I kind of got to the AMA a little late, but for somebody like me that working, and I'm really excited and really interested in what you guys are working on, but I had no clue about any of the stuff like Linux and stuff behind that, developing programming stuff. So me getting started in this, I think I started about 5 months ago, just educating myself and learning. How can someone like me that has no education on the programming and stuff like that, but wants to get involved, where should I start to, I guess, eventually work, or I guess, with you guys, in a sense, with the community?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Yeah. The development forums and one thing that's great about DeFi is kind of the openness of everything. Like all the code on Etherscan or BSC Scan, it's all published there. And you just start out and just read and get active in the communities. And although there's going to be 99 trolls, there's going to be one guy out of that 99 that's going to help you and give you the nugget of gold that you need in order to take the next step in your journey of learning the fundamentals behind all this stuff. And I definitely encourage you to do that. I encourage everybody to get as actively involved as they have time for, because the back end in like the actual chain technology that's driving DeFi and crypto, it's fascinating. And Bitcoin started out as a revolutionary monetary invention, and there's significant technology there that I firmly believe is going to change the landscape. This is an internet evolution where you don't need $100 million to build a data center in order to put a web app up anymore. Like, the chain is your data store, and we're just slapping JavaScript on the front end of chain interactions. So getting back to your question, community, I can't stress enough how important community is to DeFi, and just ask the questions that you don't know, and try. Somebody will put you on the right path.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly what you said. It's been exactly like that with people kind of helping me along the way, but a lot of times it's 99% is not really where I'm trying to go. But
Yeah.
I appreciate you answering y'all's time. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Coleone. Hopefully that gives you.
Y'all have a good one.
Yeah, you too, dude.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you, coming up here and trying to get involved. And that's
That's how you do it, man. That's how you get ahead.
Yeah,
like you gotta.
It's just a lot of it is just find out what skills you have and apply them to that protocol. And that's kind of the beauty of DAOs as well, like decentralized autonomous organizations, and just diving in, get in and see what happens. So hopefully
it's definitely something to be said for, even if you ask a question, in a community that's 99% trolls, like, those trolls are gonna help you out, because they're gonna, you have to learn how to be able to deflect the bad answers and sift through the knowledge, especially if you're going to go on a DeFi treasure hunt to figure out how all this stuff works.
Yeah,
you got to be able to sift through a lot of information.
Right. It's good to see a couple of hands coming up here. I just wanted to kind of on the tail end of that question, if there's any like tools you guys have going on for developers coming up, or anything for people that are on that are devs to get involved, any kind of stuff for them, or anything you want to say to them?
Yeah, we going through the PR process with getting listed on TrustSwap and also Sushi. This is we want to do something very similar to that, where you have the documentation on a repo, fork the repo, introduce your service module, put it in a PR, and then we can build and deploy that in an automated process. And documentation is a sign of seniority, is my stance on it. So the better the documentation that we can produce, I think, says a lot about our protocol. So yeah, we plan on putting out developer resources and being active in a developer community, and then curating a strong developer community behind 0xNodes.
Yeah,
definitely.
Cool. And just wanted to, as we're talking about Sushi integration there as well, the 180% APR on dual rewards that has just recently been introduced. So that's like fairly.
What do we have in there right now? Like a couple mil in the farm?
Yeah, I'm not 100% on what's in there, but yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, 2.2.
Yep, perfect.
It's been a heck of a ride, man.
Yeah, that's good. Wimwam. If you unmute yourself here, see if that works. Oh, don't seem to hear you. There must be something else going on here. You're unmuted. It looks like you're trying to talk, but can't hear you. Owl, can you hear him?
No. Hi, wimwam.eth.
Yeah, maybe just change over might be some audio settings. You may have to, in your microphone, down at the bottom there by where your hand was, maybe just click the little down arrow, and that'll give you some options, and maybe just choose a different input, microphone input. That sometimes helps. We're going to make it. We're going to get you up here. I'm excited.
We're going to make it.
Yeah.
WJ.
That's right. Wag me. Come on, wag me.
You can do it.
No, it's still nothing, Wimwam. Got to be an input issue.
Awesome.
So
he's going to restart his computer. Be back.
Let's see. Let's see if there's anything else here from the. Okay.
How do you keep track of who raises their hand?
There's this little badge that pops up, and then I just click the button, and it gives me a list. So let's see here. Who else has questions for us?
Yeah, I'm open to any questions that you guys may have, if you have any questions at all.
Yeah. Will the collateral for the cross-chain synths be rehypothecated and put to work elsewhere?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me. No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't because of the way. So the kernel. Oh, hey, Wim, you're back.
Testing.
Cool.
Hey, how's it going?
We'll let Owl answer.
Hey.
Yes, I'm glad that that's working now. But let's just let Owl finish up on this previous question here about the cross-chain synths, and then we'll get you on here, Wim. So just stay up here, and I'm glad your audio is working.
Yeah, so the way that the synthetic swap happens between kernels is between native settlement layer assets. And so therefore it's not a real swap. Like you're not, it's again, I can't stress this enough that fundamentally from a technology perspective, but I believe that the bridges as they exist today with the mint and burn technology implemented is fundamentally wrong, and there's a better way to do it. So introducing a liquidity interconnect of native settlement layer assets with synthetic swaps should mean that there is no rehypothecating of the assets deposited. You are basically doing like another user is lending to you to cross over into a different chain to then deploy assets stored in the remote kernel from their reserve pool and then produce a yield is how we essentially capture the ecosystem. Does that make sense, Tangle? Sorry.
It does. It's we're getting towards the big brain stuff here. We're sliding on the on the good side of the bell curve. So I hope that helps with Nakamomo. I see they're typing right now. Let's see if that gives a good description.
Yeah.
I think for me it kind of it helps with that. Let's see if I hope that does it. And if you feel like that's good. Here we got another. That's a great explanation. Thanks. We got that coming in. So, yeah, I think that's a good coverage. Let's move over to Wimwam now.
Yeah. What do you got, Wimwam?
Yeah. Thank you for coming up. Appreciate it. Wimwam, go ahead.
Oh man.
Damn. Oh no. I feel terrible now. We had him. All right, let's see if he comes back up here.
Right now.
Let's just give it 2 minutes here to see if a reconnection get him back up. All right, let's try it now.
Testing.
There you go. Go ahead and wham. Do it.
All right, I'd like to apologize to all definitely 368 real people in this chat. I also want to apologize to y'all for the background noise. I'm at the gym right now.
All good. Hey, nice.
Good for your determination.
Let's get that question.
Thank you kindly. So listening to y'all, Owl, and thank you again, Tangle, for putting this on.
Yeah, of course.
You're doing a great job with these AMAs.
Thank you.
Tangle, as a Linux junkie, I have nothing but the utmost respect for you. I'm an applications guy, and I'm a machine learning researcher right now. So as someone who deals more with high-level applications and web dev of the space, I can't speak at all to some of this FUD that circulator circulated around both like the EVM design and Solidity as a base language. So I wanted to just like quickly get your thoughts on, based on your interactions with the lower level aspects of the stack, what your thoughts might be on those kind of FUD that we hear circulated around sometimes. Also, again, sorry, I'm mid-workout, so a little haggard right now.
It's awesome. Way to be doing it. Way to be getting it.
So, if I understood the question correctly, it is how does Solidity interact with the lower level languages?
Testing, can you still hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, wow. Still confused as to what that whole issue was. Not muting and unmuting is not the issue. Okay. I guess more pointedly, there's been questions around the quality of the design of the EVM and Solidity as a language. And so just as someone who has lower level experience than I do, or more lower level experience, what are your comments on that or experiences with it?
Oh man, talk about a polarizing topic. Solidity is it's basically a JavaScript hack, and for a programmer coming in, you can kind of see the roots of it. I would say that I am encouraged by the massive Ethereum community and how much work they've done on it, and it has come a long ways. But fundamentally, interacting between the application layer and the scheduler, is fundamentally different when you don't have that like base processor or a scheduler to interact with. So there's no concept of a loop in when interacting with a chain. There's no cron, there's no scheduler essentially. So the way that I liken a Solidity contract is basically a pay to play batch file from the DOS 3.1 days. It's not easy, and there's a lot of limitations, but you also can discard a lot of the stack that you would normally have to pay attention to. Like there's no cleanup work that you need to do. It just kind of executes. From my perspective, from like a DevOps perspective and a system architecture perspective, it's super clean because, hey, it's a decentralized network running across, hundreds or thousands of nodes, and you don't have to worry about anything outside of the front end and how you display the interactions with the contracts on chain. So you kind of get to discard it, and it's a trade-off. Like, is that elegant? Maybe. Is it, is the blockchain like easy to interact with? Like, no, but it's getting easier every day. And if you look at like, coding in assembly language, and then you look at programming in C++, and then you look at Python or any of the interpretive languages of today, it's an iterative process that isn't done overnight, is what I would say. So does that answer your question?
Absolutely. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I especially like it, like likening to a batch file from MS-DOS.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense how you pose it. It's like, is it elegant? Well, I don't know. It's just a point along the spectrum of trade-off.
Yeah,
so much appreciated on that.
We have the advantage of perspective, right? And being in the space, and especially being involved with machine learning, you probably have seen different levels of interpreted languages, right? And even probably code in C or something, or R, a really hardcore language like that. And like looking at Solidity is just an evolution and an iterative language that we have to develop, and we have to build all of the other things. Like we're starting at zero, where we had Bitcoin with no smart contracts and just this is a blockchain, and then we have Ethereum, and then we're moving into Solana and some of these other side chains and different blockchains entirely. I don't think this is the end of the journey. I think we're closer to the beginning of the journey than we are the end.
Makes a ton of sense. I mean, that likens back to the overall ecosystem view and forecast for the future, where different chains have different purposes and they're really accessible bridges and ways of taking liquidity from one place to another. And I'm really excited for how y'all plug into that in the future.
Yeah, that is a good segue for me to definitely plug that. I'm big into liquidity, and I know a lot of people have different specialties inside the DeFi space, and I'm definitely more on the liquidity than the AMM side. And I respect what the AMMs are doing, and I love the developments in the AMM space. But I'm perfectly happy being like a network infrastructure layer or digital infrastructure layer. Than I am like focusing solely on like AMMs and swaps.
Cool.
Makes sense. I'm personally a huge fan of three-pronged AMMs. Couldn't think of one off the top of my head, though. Thanks a bunch for your time, Owl and Tangle.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
Thank you very much, Wim. And yeah, I don't know, where would we find a three-pronged type thing? Yeah, I don't know. That's unsure where we could find some kind of.
Sounds interesting. Sounds like something I want to.
Something's like maybe we could look into a little bit there. So yeah, shout out to Trident. Yeah, and also just kind of on the tail ends of the of that question, when Haskell, right? When Haskell.
Yeah, dude. When Trident, Tank. Let's put you on the spot.
When Trident, it's coming. So maybe. Yeah, I don't want to put any like arms races with with Charles or anything. So let's not do that. Let's not do that.
What's coming first, smart contracts or Trident?
I don't know. I don't know where we're at with smart contracts. I thought they were ready. I thought they were deployed. I thought they were happening. So I'm misinformed. I don't know what's going on anymore. So I need to do some research on that at some other point when I'm in between researching your guys' these projects that are on here. Okay, so one final question here I'll take from the audience here is I guess you kind of discussed that, I guess, here just in the context of what Gavin Wood decided to do, or to go do what he did. Important convo. Thanks for engaging with it. So agree on the early stages of iteration. He's referring to parachains and Polkadot ecosystem. I presume that's where that is. So
yeah,
cool. That's been we've been an hour here. We've had a few questions come in. That's great. A couple people showed up on stage. I really appreciate that. Anything else here, Owl, that you want to finish off with, or any last little alpha leaks or keynotes for the audience?
No, I guess the alpha leak is I just wouldn't anticipate a large, we are launching on X date. I would just stay in touch with our socials. Would love to plug the community, say thanks to the early community members that we have. Thanks to everybody showing up. Nice. And if you give a shout out to some of the big dogs like Joe McCann. I just want to say thanks for the banter about Solana. Kyle Salami has been great. His input has been extremely interesting, and interacting with him over the past couple months has been provided good insight. I just want to thank like the advisors and everybody that's been involved with the project so far. We've especially Carbon Base, John Lillick, Dustin Byington. These guys are great. Thank you to Sushi. Interacting with you guys, I just was blown away by the technical abilities from your team, Tangle, and just everybody's been amazing so far. If you're looking at building in the space, I can't say that, coming from a community perspective, I understand how it could be intimidating.
Mhm.
But once you start networking, like great guys like Tangle and everybody else come out. So just want to say thank you to everybody that's been around this long.
Yeah, awesome. And remember, dual rewards for BIOS and sushi on
190%.
190. Get it. Go get it, people. Get it. So, yeah, awesome. Web socials. Where do we find you guys? Online? What's your website?
Twitter.com/0x_NODES. I am Twitter.com 0x_owl.
Awesome.
And join our Discord, join our Telegram. Would love to have any of you guys join and hang out with us.
Perfect. If they go to your website, they can connect to your Telegram and Discord through there. What's the website?
Yep. 0xNodes.io.
Simple as that. 0xNodes.io. Head over there. You can connect to their Discord, their Telegram, and get in touch with everybody. Just referring and touching on the POAPs. Of course, if you've been in the room for 15, 20 minutes, you will be logged for the POAP. So we'll have that ready to rock here right away. You'll head over to in the sushi server underneath into the sushi bar. Sorry. Just go down towards the bottom and you'll see the Get POAP channel. Touch or click on that and type in !claim, and you will be able to claim your past 5 POAPs that for the events that you have attended. You got 30 days to claim them, so no rush. And especially after this, I'll open up the room. It's closed right now just so we don't break the Master POAP V2. It's been working strong, and we're just wanting to go gently, make sure that we don't break it, because we were having lots of problems before. So I'll open up the room here in 20 minutes, half an hour after everything synchronizes, and you guys can go in there and grab your POAPs over the next. You got 30 days, so no rush. Even if you want to do it tomorrow, they'll be sitting there waiting for you. It's your unique POAP, so no rush to get it. It's yours. It's your unique link. So should be groovy. As far as recording of this will be up on YouTube on the Sushi Official channel. So I saw there's a few people asking about that earlier on in the AMA text questions. So yeah, just head over to Sushi Official, and we can post a link for that. Maybe if somebody has a quick finger, you can put that in the AMA text questions. But yeah, simple enough to find that. And then follow me on Twitter, 0xTangle. And you can also go into, to keep track of the latest and greatest AMAs coming out with SushiSwap, and hit Sesh as well. So in our Discord server, up at the top, underneath the main SushiSwap category, there is the calendar, and just click on calendar, and inside of there, it will take you, it'll show you the latest events. Click on the alarm clock, and Sesh will send you a DM, and then you can pick whichever timing that you want for a notification. So it seems to be working well, and if anybody has any comments on that, please pass those along, or share that with in support or something, and we can get any feedback on that. But anyway, that's all I got for everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Owl. Thank you, Swanson, for showing up and being a part of the show. And yeah, interesting to see what you guys have, how things develop. So appreciate it coming out.
Yeah, thanks, Tangle.
All right, thanks. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.